Now let's talk about the Champions League. The new format, what do you think about the new format so far?
It's very confusing, but it's understandable. Because UEFA, like FIFA, have a responsibility to all of Europe, not just to the big clubs. So as much as, or the big countries. So as much as England, Spain, Germany, France, they're not happy because too many teams are coming in, UEFA have a responsibility to the Azerbaijans, the Estonians, because that is how UEFA stay in power. Because the English man doesn't have more power than the man from Azerbaijan. It's one vote, so they have to keep everyone happy. So they have to include people. It's inclusive. So as much as they had a different format whereby these smaller teams had to then play each other to qualify for the Champions League, and it stayed in the format, they said, no, we're going to reward them by putting them in there. So like everything else, it'll take some getting used to. The Premier League took some getting used to in 1993, but look at it now, it's accepted. So once we get used to it, and a lot of these Premier League teams are then complaining it's going to be too much football. It isn't going to be that much more football. But of course, if you have so much money coming into it, you have to give something back. So therefore, if it means that you're going to have to play more matches, you have to play more matches. And you've got big squads, so you can utilize your squad as they do in the Premier League. So I haven't got a bad word to say about it.
English teams seem to be doing very well with top 3 teams in the Champions League, all English, Villa top. What Villa players catch your eye, John?
Duran, but they're a good team. They're a good team. Villa are a team who, I think from an individual perspective, they haven't got any real superstars in the team, but they work well as a team. The managers put together a good team with good balance and good understanding of how they play. You know, very much like the Spain team when they won the Euros.
The manager's good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very good. So, yeah, I'm impressed with them. However, English teams have always done well in the Champions League. You know, maybe not Villa, but if you look at what Liverpool, you know, Man City, Arsenal, they've always been in the quarterfinals towards the end. So it's no surprise that the English teams have done that well.
Okay, so what clubs outside of England have caught your eye?
Oh, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. It's always going to be the same the usual suspects. Listen, once you had, I remember years ago when it was the European Cup, you had teams like Stockholm, you had teams like the Romanian team, Rapid Bucharest, you had Yugoslavian teams who won the Champions League, Red Star Belgrade. So you had smaller teams, where since the money has come into these big clubs, once you're getting into the quarterfinals, semi-finals, there's going to be the English teams, plus Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Barcelona, maybe Atletico, maybe Porto from Portugal, Paris Saint-Germain have now come in. So it's going to be hard for any of these new teams to really do anything. As much as maybe in this format, you can get a couple of teams who aren't fancied getting through, but you know once you get to the quarterfinals and semi-finals, it's going to be the same team. So of course, once again, those 4, add Paris Saint-Germain into that, as much as they've dropped off a bit. So Barcelona and Real Madrid and Bayern Munich.
What team do you think will win the Champions League then?
Liverpool. I'll pick 2. It'll be Man City or Real Madrid. Because Real Madrid, no matter, if you look at Real Madrid in the league, even when they weren't necessarily doing well in the league a couple of years ago, the Champions League is the most important thing to them. And on any given day, remember when they played Manchester City, and they beat Manchester City a couple of years ago, and they weren't playing well, but they got the job done. And Carlo Ancelotti prioritizes the Champions League. So I think that one of those 2 will be favourite.